Hi, and welcome to English Channel. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
My name is Emma Reyes, and I am 25 years old. I work at a small travel booking company in Chicago. Every day, I help customers choose tours, book hotels, and plan their trips. I try to be polite and careful because I want people to enjoy their travels. My boss is Mr. Bennett, a 43-year-old man who is always calm and gentle. He teaches me many things and gives me good advice at work. I moved to Chicago 1 year ago. Before that, I lived in a quiet town far away. Because I am still new here, I sometimes feel shy and a little lonely. I do not have many friends yet, and the big city still feels unfamiliar to me. But I am hopeful. I believe that with time, I will grow more confident, make new friends, and find my place in this busy city. That morning started like any other quiet day at the office. I arrived early, made myself a small cup of tea, and turned on my computer. The building was still silent because most of my coworkers had not come in yet. As I walked past Mr. Bennett's office, I suddenly heard his voice. He was on the phone, and the door was half open. I didn't mean to listen, but the words were so clear that I stopped without thinking. She's brilliant. She's exactly who we need. I really like her energy. My heart jumped. Was he talking about me? I felt my face get hot. I slowly stepped away from the door and returned to my desk, but the words kept repeating in my head. Brilliant. Exactly who we need. I really like her energy. It sounded so personal that I didn't know what to think. For a moment, my mind went back to all the small things he had done for me during the year. He once brought me a warm muffin on the day I had a cold. He helped me fix a long document when I was struggling with it. And he even remembered the name of my cat, Luna, without me having to repeat it. No other boss had ever done things like that. My thoughts became even more confusing. Could he have feelings for me? I felt strange, nervous, and unsure. I didn't want to assume anything. But the phone call sounded different. I needed to talk to someone. So I walked to the front desk where Sophia, our receptionist, was arranging some brochures. She was friendly and always ready to listen. "Hey, Sophia," I whispered. "Can I tell you something a little strange?" Her eyes lit up with curiosity. Of course. What happened? I told her everything. The phone call, the words I heard, the memories, the muffin, the cat. She covered her mouth and gasped softly. "Emma, that really sounds like something. Maybe he does like you." I felt both embarrassed and even more nervous. I didn't know whether I should laugh, worry, or pretend nothing happened. The whole morning, my mind kept jumping back to Mr. Bennett's voice on the phone. I could barely finish my usual tasks. Then, around lunchtime, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mr. Bennett. 3 p.m. Please come to my office. Important. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Important? What does that mean? Was Sophia right? Was he really going to say something personal? I spent the next 2 hours fixing my hair, checking my email, and trying to calm down. When the clock hit 3, I walked to his office with shaky hands. He invited me to sit, then smiled politely. "Emma, I have something important to discuss." My heart almost stopped, but his next words surprised me completely. He explained that the company had a new partnership project in Italy and needed someone to support the new office there for 3 months. Then he looked straight at me and said, "Emma, you are the best person for this job." I blinked. Italy? A new office? A project? My mind tried to catch up. Suddenly everything made sense. The phone call wasn't about love. It was about work. I almost laughed with relief. The misunderstanding melted away, and all I felt was shock and excitement about the opportunity waiting for me. That night, I could not sleep. My mind was full of thoughts about Italy, the new office, and what this opportunity really meant. I had never traveled alone before, and the idea of living in a new city for 3 months made me nervous. What if I get lost? What if I make mistakes at work? What if I can't handle it? The questions kept spinning in my head. I turned from side to side in bed, trying to calm myself, but the excitement and fear felt almost equal. Finally, I decided to call my older brother, Daniel. He had always been supportive, giving me advice when I didn't know what to do. After I explained everything, the project, the trip, my fears, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said gently, "Emma, you should try this. Avoiding opportunities doesn't help you grow. You'll learn more, meet new people, and gain experience. 3 months will go by fast, and you'll come back stronger." Hearing his words made me feel better. I realized that fear is normal, but it shouldn't stop me from trying something important. I spent the rest of the night thinking, imagining myself walking through the streets of Florence, speaking English with colleagues, and helping new staff. By the next morning, I had made my decision. I would go. I felt nervous, but also excited. I packed my small suitcase carefully, checked my passport twice, and made sure all my documents were ready. When I arrived in Florence, the city took my breath away. The streets were full of life, with bright buildings, colorful cafes, and people walking everywhere with maps and suitcases. I could hear music from a street performer as I walked through a small square, and the smell of fresh bread and coffee made me smile. Everything was different from Chicago, but it felt good, like a new adventure waiting to begin. The office in Florence was small but busy. My manager there, Marissa, greeted me warmly. She was friendly, funny, and always ready to answer my questions. She introduced me to the new team, showing me where everything was and explaining my responsibilities. I would help train 2 new assistants, answer emails in English, and assist with organizing tours. The work was challenging, but I felt proud that they trusted me with important tasks. On my first weekend, I wanted to explore the city a little. I joined a pasta making class, learning how to roll dough and shape noodles under the guidance of a cheerful Italian chef. It was fun, and I laughed when my noodles came out funny shapes. Later, I wandered through the squares, watched street performers, and admired the old buildings. I even met 2 tourists from Brazil, Clara and Beatriz, who were traveling alone like me. We started talking about our favorite places in the city, and by the end of the afternoon, We had exchanged phone numbers and promised to meet again. Even though I was far from home, I felt a sense of belonging. Every day, I learned something new: how to handle customer emails professionally, how to guide the new assistants, and even small things like navigating the busy streets or ordering coffee in Italian. Florence was exciting, colorful, and sometimes overwhelming, but I discovered a new side of myself. I could manage challenges, meet new people, and enjoy small moments of happiness. I realized that this trip was not just about work. It was about growing as a person, learning to be independent, and trusting myself. Even though I had been afraid at first, now I felt capable. I could do this. I could succeed. And more than anything, I felt grateful for the chance to start this adventure. One afternoon, Marissa called me into her office. I was not expecting anything special, so I felt a little nervous as I walked down the hall. The office was bright, with sunlight coming through the large windows. Marissa was smiling, as always, but there was a seriousness in her eyes that made me pay close attention. "Emma," she began, "I have something important to discuss with you." She paused for a moment, and I leaned forward slightly, my heart beating faster. I had no idea what she would say. Marissa explained that the company was thinking of creating a regional training position. This new role would not be limited to Florence. Instead, it would require someone to travel to multiple offices in Europe to help train new employees and support the teams there. The position was very important because it would help the company grow and maintain quality across different countries. She looked at me and said, "Emma, we think you might be the right person for this role." I blinked and tried to process her words. Me? A regional trainer? I had never imagined anything like this. I had thought of my work in Florence as a temporary project, something that would last 3 months and then end. I had never thought I would be trusted with responsibilities across Europe. Marissa continued, "You have done an excellent job here. You are patient, kind, and clear when you explain things. The new staff really enjoy learning from you. We believe you could help our teams in other countries as well." I felt my face get warm, a mix of surprise, pride, and nervousness. Traveling to new countries, meeting different teams, and teaching them how to do their work seemed exciting, but also very challenging. I had never done anything like this before. Marissa smiled and said, "There is no need to answer now. Take some time to think about it. We just wanted you to know we are considering you for this opportunity." As I walked back to my desk, my mind was spinning. I could hardly believe it. Something that had started as a 3-month project in Florence had now turned into a chance to grow even more, travel across Europe, and take on real leadership responsibilities. I felt proud, nervous, and a little scared, but mostly I felt ready to challenge myself in ways I had never imagined. I realized that sometimes opportunities come when we least expect them. And now I had a choice: stay safe and comfortable, or take a step into something bigger and unknown. My heart told me this was a chance I could not miss. After 3 months in Florence, it was finally time for me to return to Chicago. The plane ride felt long, but I kept thinking about everything I had learned and experienced. I felt a little nervous about going back, but I also felt proud of myself. I had managed a new office, trained new staff, and lived in a foreign city on my own. When I walked into the office, Sophia ran toward me with a big smile. She hugged me tightly and said, "Emma, you look so confident. You are not the same person who left 3 months ago." I laughed, feeling a warm glow in my chest. It felt good to be welcomed back, but I also felt that I had changed inside. A few minutes later, Mr. Bennett came out of his office. He looked at me with a calm, proud smile. "Emma," he said, "you've grown. I'm proud of you." His words made me feel proud, but also a little emotional. Then he added, "I also want to support you if you decide to apply for the regional training position." I realized in that moment how far I had come. I had been so focused on imagining that Mr. Bennett liked me personally that I had created a story in my head about love. But the truth was different. His words on the phone months ago were about my work, my energy, and my abilities, not about romance. Even though I had misunderstood the situation, that misunderstanding had led me to Florence, and Florence had changed everything. It had helped me grow, gain experience, and discover what I was capable of. What I thought was a personal story about love had actually opened the door to a new chapter in my life, one full of challenges, learning, and opportunities. As I sat back at my desk, I felt a mix of emotions, pride, relief, and excitement. I realized that life doesn't always turn out the way we imagine. Sometimes we make assumptions, we worry, and we think we understand. But then, the real story shows up, and it can be even better than we expected. For the first time in a long time, I felt ready to take the next step. I had learned to trust myself, to face new challenges, and to embrace opportunities. And I knew that this was only the beginning of my journey. The misunderstanding about love had led me here, but what I found was much more valuable: growth, confidence, and the chance to write my own story. Life does not always turn out the way we imagine. Sometimes we think a situation is about love, a relationship, or personal feelings, but the truth can be completely different. We may interpret small actions as signals, read meanings into kind gestures, or imagine stories in our minds that are far from reality. I know this because I once believed my boss's words were about love. I created a whole story in my head, and I felt nervous, excited, and even a little silly. But that misunderstanding led me to something much bigger. What I thought was a personal story about feelings became a stepping stone to an opportunity one never expected. I traveled to a new country, learned to work independently, guided new teams, and discovered that I could handle challenges I once thought were impossible. I realized that life often uses small, confusing moments to guide us toward growth, learning, and new experiences. The most valuable gift I received was not a relationship or recognition. It was personal growth. I became more confident, more capable, and more aware of my strengths. I learned to trust myself, embrace new challenges, and face uncertainty without fear. So, the message I want to share is simple. life is not always about what we think it is. Sometimes what we perceive as one thing is actually the beginning of something greater. Every challenge, misunderstanding, or unexpected event can lead us to grow and discover opportunities we never imagined. And the most beautiful reward of all is the person we become along the way.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.